So you would think that Christmas would be a quieter time of the year. Unfortunately, that's not the case. Wickedness is everywhere. And so, especially during this time of year when Christmas and God is such a preeminent focus in everyone's minds, or attacks and everything have gone up, but that's not even the stuff that I'm going to be talking about necessarily today. There is so much going on today in just regular news, and I teased something yesterday. I'm going to get into that in a second, but I think it's good that we discuss some of these things because America is finally making African countries pay for some of the stuff that we give them. Trump was mentioned on the Epstein flight logs, which was never said that way before, and I think that's a mistake. The TPUSA did a straw poll, and from the AmFest thing, and they discovered some interesting things as to what the number one danger is that's seen. DOJ, why? That's the only question I have was why. The DOJ threw out a video showing what looked like Epstein killing himself in a video, and I don't know why they did it. Well, we were going to have to discuss that. It is wild. And then something that I had said I had teased, and this was an accident. I didn't mean to not cover it yesterday. I didn't cover it, and I meant to cover it, is that there was a San Francisco young lady that was arrested because she was basically defying the Planned Parenthood. And we're going to have to get into that. So all very, very important stuff, and especially that one is a very crucial thing to cover. So welcome to the Ripple Effect. So first of all, I wanted to cover the health department thing. So the U.S. Department of Health, as you know, with the whole thing starting with what was that, Doge, right? And then going on to just all the investigations that were into USAID and all of that, covering all these issues and stuff that's been going on that's just been wild, like money going everywhere. Why are we paying for vasectomies in I don't know where? And why are we paying for hookers to get clean in another place? I mean, wild, crazy stuff. But this last week, the United States government signed a health compact with 9 African countries. And basically what it says is that they're now ramping up from nothing to 49% of the cost of the drugs that we're sending over. And I understand. That's not 100%, right? We're giving them drugs at a discounted cost. The reason why this is a problem and had been a problem is because we pay extraordinary high costs in drugs, right? So I have a really good job. I'm very thankful for that. And I have pharmacy insurance, right? Pharmacy insurance allows me to bring drugs down considerably. It was a drug that my wife was taking, and it was $40-something originally. And with my pharmacy insurance, with the new job, when I got a new job, new health insurance, it ended up dropping it down to like $4. Okay, and I was like, wow, that's really nice. But the problem is, the reason why these drugs are so expensive is because these companies are trying to recoup their investment, money. And we're sending all of them over to these African countries and all these other countries in Europe and so on at a much discounted rate, at a super low discounted rate. And basically what these countries were telling us for the longest time is, if you want to sell your drug here, you have to do it at a super discounted rate. Well, people want to get the drug out there. They want to get their name out there. They want to push their stuff out there. So what they'll do is they'll do the drug at a discounted rate, but then they charge us the much higher rate because they know we have the insurance to do it. And that's where a lot of our insurance costs go through the roof because we're paying for other countries. We're literally subsidizing other countries. And I'm very glad to see this because it will dramatically affect the cost of drugs when other countries are required to pay, I hate to say it this way, but their fair share, right? Their fair share. They should pay for what they're getting. And if we want to do a discounted rate for another country, then we should give ourselves a discounted rate too. Like whatever the cost is able to be for the drug, I don't want to make it impossible for people to have, obviously. But if it costs a certain amount of money, why should we pay more than any other country, especially when we're the ones developing the drug? My second topic was the Trump Epstein thing, and again, all these files are being released, and everyone was going to say, "Oh, well, Trump's going to be in it. He's going to be in it everywhere. It's going to be crazy," and to some degree, he is. And we all knew that he was an associate of Epstein. And I'm not trying to defend Trump in any way, shape, or form. And all I'm going to say on this one is Trump is recorded or listed as a passenger on the plane. None of the records, as far as I can tell yet, show him going to Epstein's Island or him doing anything that would be illegal. He used the plane, and many people did use planes like this. And unfortunately, it's kind of seems to be a common thing that people do this back and forth where they and I know being in the industry of this world of industry, you see a lot of back and forth with gifts and payments and that kind of thing back and forth to, I don't know, I'm not going to say bribe, but to encourage different things. And it definitely seems what it was going on is a lot of people were using this for their own benefit, and Trump seemed to be one of them for at least as far as we know, 8 flights on the Epstein plane. The left are trying to make hay out of it. I don't know that there's any there. I don't think that there's any there. The right, people that are super Trumpian are saying, well, there's nothing absolute there. It was this. I'm like, again, I don't know. No one knows at this point. There's nothing that seems to signify that he did anything wrong, but he did ride the plane. One of the most important stories right now coming out of the AmFest thing, besides the whole Candace garbage and all that stuff, and you wouldn't believe the negative comments I get on my videos from people that are, I don't know if they're bots or just pathetic losers who think that Candace is absolutely correct all the time. And honestly, even if you think that I'm great and you're somehow delusional in the other sense, and you think that somehow this personality is amazing, if you just get to the point where you're just listening to me and you think that just me is perfect, I will warn you right now, do not do that, because I will make mistakes. And everyone makes mistakes. You should never follow someone just like that. But that's a whole side note. TPUSA did a straw man poll, whatever you call it, straw poll. And the number one issue that they found that people thought of as an issue was rising Islamism or radical Islamism. And I was so happy to see that, because Charlie Kirk had just been breaking the cusp of that. Really, he had not been pursuing that as much as a lot of people wanted, and because he had not really seen it as big of a problem. But we've seen it. I mean, the Somalians and so on, and that whole story about the Somalian girl coming out and saying that we have no right to kick the Somalis out, the illegal Somalis out, and all the people that are stealing money from us, because this is stolen land, and because it's stolen land, we have every right to be here. It's just, the stories are wild, guys. We're in such a world where everyone is in their own little, world up in their head, and where truth is not truth. And that's why I said what I said about Ben Shapiro and Candace and the whole thing is we need to pursue truth. Truth is the most important thing. If you don't have truth, you have no basis to live off of and to go off of. But thankfully, TPUSA revealed that it seems to be a concern on everyone's mind is the radical Islam. Good. We need to be prepared. We need to be ready. Have the answers. Start studying now the answers that you will need to address and deal with someone who's an Islamist. And there's good people out there that are good apologists on our side that deal with these issues all the time. Look them up. I think not someone who's great, a person, but has a great channel all about this stuff is the Apostate Prophet. He does a really good job. Now, the disgraceful story of the day, so we have different stories of the day, but the disgraceful story of the day is the DOJ. The DOJ has been making so many mistakes. Pam Bondi needs fired. I'm sorry. I'm sure she was great in Florida, but she needs to be fired. This is absolutely ridiculous, guys. We're going on almost an entire year since the Trump administration took over, and you can't tell me that Pam Bondi's, whose single job was to reveal all the things that Trump was on the campaign trail talking about the whole time, that she can't do it right. She can't do it right, guys. Here's this video released, okay? And I looked into it because I wanted to actually figure out what was going on. And it was a released video of Epstein attempted suicide, supposedly, right? And, of course, it was fake. And then when you deep dive down into it, it was like, well, it was labeled as being fake because it was information that was given to an investigator asking whether it was real or not. And I said, okay, guys, follow me here. You've had almost an entire year to get this right. And you did not put this in a categorization of fake evidence or submittals from investigators, like something so that we knew this was fake. So then people come out and bring this out and they look at you and they say, because you've been incompetent time and time and time again, you're just incompetent again. And don't tell me it's just because, well, we're forced to release the files. Trump went in saying he was going to release the files. Your job was to cover his butt by doing your job, Pam. This is ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous that this is coming out and making you look more like a fool than ever before, making Trump look more like a fool than ever before. Your job as a subordinate is to make sure that your boss looks good, and this is garbage. Pam, you should be ashamed of yourself. Pull it together. Get it right. Get it figured out what's going on here. Label this as fake video submitted by an inquiry. Good. Then they would have known that you knew it was a fake video. But the fact that you guys hadn't done that and then released it as if it was something and confusing people. Now, the most important topic that I wanted to get to, and I probably spent too much time talking about that, but the most important topic is that up in San Francisco, there was a young lady who was arrested outside of the headline. I'll read you the headline and then we'll go into it. A San Francisco police arrest Christian woman for sidewalk counseling outside of abortion clinic. Now, I think this is important, and the reason why I'm going to scoot a little bit closer, the reason why I think this is so important is because I had mentioned this, that this has been going on in Australia, This has been going on in the UK. This has been going on in Canada. And I said, it's coming here. It's coming here. This story is as of December 19th. December 19th. And I wanted to cover it, and I accidentally alluded to it yesterday, and I forgot to include it, and that's my problem. But her name is Anastasia Rogers, and she's an organizer for the survivor of the abortion Holocaust. She was a former atheist who came to Christ in 2023. And her religion is real, guys. Because once she realized that she was wrong and accepted Christ as her Savior, she understood the damage that was being done to these children. And because of that, she's out there doing the good work. But she was arrested by San Francisco police, and it says, here's the report from someone who was there. Anna was handcuffed and taken to custody for simply distributing pregnancy resource pamphlets. She was not obstructing access, making threats, or violating the law. Those are the three ones they had to be very careful about, because if you're obstructing access or you're blocking, I did some polling, like I was standing at a polling station before, and you have to be very careful about how far away and where you're standing to not interfere with it, and that's why they're saying this. They're being very careful what they're saying, because they're trying to say we did not break the law. But she was not obstructing access, making threats, or violating the law. The rest is based on a false accusation from an on-duty Planned Parenthood security officer. And this is the part, the fact that they can claim these things and then use the FACE Act to get a warrant. The FACE Act was something that was supposed to help protect religious institutions and that kind of thing from abuse, basically. Unfortunately, it never gets really used in that situation, and that's how it was presented, and as just basically used to protect abortion clinics. This is America. This is America. We need to have this police chief fired. I know it's going to be impossible. It'll probably never happen because it's San Francisco, but we need to do something. Call this person, and I don't have the information. I wish I was one of those bigger places that could dive in and has investigators to find which numbers to call and all that kind of stuff. And I looked into it, but I couldn't really figure that out directly from what I was looking at. But we need to do something to get this girl released. Miss Rogers needs to be released, Anastasia Rogers, and get her back out on the streets where she can continue to do the good work of convincing people not to murder their children. And think about the small difference that makes. Every single child that she does, and I love the name that people help me choose for this channel, the ripple effect. Think of the rewards in heaven that this girl is getting for every single child that is born alive instead of killed. And we can make a small difference. Everyone can make a small difference by reaching out and pushing back against this arrest and calling them and making a stink with your senator, whoever you need to do to get in contact to make this girl be free. And get the warning in ourselves too that this happened in America and that it can happen in America. And once it's happened, it just gets easier and easier for them to do these kind of things to us and to Christians and to destroy our country. They'll let an Islamist rape a 12-year-old, but that's fine. Okay, that's part of his culture. But how dare you stand out of an abortion clinic and tell people to please save the life of their child? Let's do what we can, guys. I'm up to 97 subscribers. I'm really thankful for that. I appreciate it. I get some, negative comments whenever I do like a Candace Owens video. But all the encouragement that you guys put out there is very, very nice and it's very enjoyable to see. Thank you so much, guys. I appreciate that. And then like, comment, and subscribe. And thank you for watching The Ripple Effect.